Hello, I'm Sandra Victorova. Thank you for joining us. The annual Naples Pridefest avoided multiple legal hurdles to bring the celebration to thousands of attendees this year. Still, a late court decision impacted the LGBTQ+ event. 24 hours before the gates opened, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals granted a request by the City of Naples to force the marquee performance, the Drag Extravaganza, indoors instead of outdoors at Cambier Park, and barred anyone under 18 from attending. WGCU's Stewart reports.
We just try to show up and spread love, and that's all we do. We're just here to be loving.
Over 4,000 people showed up to Pridefest in Naples last weekend, enjoying food and drinks, organizations in support of the LGBTQ+ community, and a variety of performances at Cambier Park. That is, most performances. Only about 600 people could experience the festival's signature Drag Extravaganza. That's because of a last-minute court decision which confined the drag show off the main stage and indoors.
And yesterday, we had to, do a lot of changes, which means she had to deal with it when, she actually woke up. She did not wake up early. Just saying.
It's been stressful for the fact that they waited till the 11th hour to tell us that we did have to move inside, but we have done it before inside, and especially in here, so we knew the game plan, we knew how to adjust quickly, but it'd be fun to be out with everybody because we know it's like a spectacular year this year and it's a beautiful day, but yeah, sometimes you got to roll with the punches.
One attendee said the controversy made her more determined to attend.
When there's this much ugly on the outside, it makes me even want to come in more with the not ugly.
Protesters also showed up, supporting the City of Naples' ban on outdoor drag shows. Naples police estimated about 250 protesters. Only one incident led to an arrest. Advocates for Pridefest say they're still in the fight to bring the drag show out in the open next year.
We're here, we're proud to be who we are, and we want to be seen, and we want for others to know that we are celebrating with our community. Putting us inside, putting us in the shadows, literally, putting us hidden away, tucked away, so that people can't see us, is the embodiment of what we're here to fight against. And we're going to move to the end of the case as fast as we can, so that by this time next year, we're here outside celebrating with a drag show that's outside.
For WGCU News, I'm Stewart.
Last month, a lower court ruled against the City of Naples, finding their permitting restrictions for the event as clearly invalid under the First Amendment. Governor Ron DeSantis and Representative Byron Donalds both criticized previous rulings in favor of the event. They cite concerns about protecting children from sexually explicit content. Attorneys for the ACLU of Florida played an instrumental role in clearing a path for Pridefest this year. ACLU of Florida Executive Director Bacardi Jackson spoke about the restrictions placed on the drag show. She says while their side didn't get the ruling they hoped for, they moved forward, saying that justice is rarely linear. We are joined now by Howard Simon. He spent 23 years as Executive Director of the ACLU of Florida. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Simon. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the invitation.
So the district judge in this case ruled that the drag show is protected speech. I want you to help us to understand where the legal boundaries are in terms of when something goes from being considered free speech and then can cross into that area which may not be protected, such as obscenity.
Well, obscenity is a very technical legal definition that has to deal with things like community standards, whether there's any redeeming artistic value. And of course, there's plenty of artistic value because there's lots of Broadway shows, Mozart operas, history of there's shows on Broadway now that deal with drag performances and so on. And I don't know why the City of Naples is trying to bang its head against the wall and try to defend a ban which is clearly unconstitutional, as it is a violation of the freedom of speech of the people who are attempting to put on this performance.
Mr. Simon, when you first took over the ACLU of Florida in 1997, LGBTQ issues were certainly a major issue back then as well. I'm thinking of issues like same-sex marriage. How have you seen the discussion of LGBTQ rights change over the years?
Well, that's a really interesting question. There's some things that have changed, and there's some things that have sadly stayed the same. I think what's changed is that we are a lot closer to legal equality for members of the LGBT community than we were several decades ago. I mean, it took us several years to strike down the ban on adoptions by gay men and lesbians. It took us a while to establish before the US Supreme Court did the right to marry. It took us many years to defend local ordinances that prohibited discrimination on the basis of being gay. So the legal environment has really changed. I think culturally we've moved on. I don't think people think that being gay is a legitimate basis for discrimination anymore. So a lot has changed culturally and legally. What has not changed, unfortunately, is a lot of the ugly rhetoric. When did it become permissible in America to say that I may be offended by a drag performance? I wouldn't want my children to see one. I wouldn't want to attend one, but I have the right to ban it for everybody else who doesn't object to it. I think that's a profoundly un-American attitude towards freedom of speech in this country.
Why do you think it's important to protect events like Pride from a legal perspective?
Well, because they have a constitutional right of freedom of speech. It's important to protect everybody's freedom of speech from the point, regardless of political point of view. That's the work that the ACLU has done now for more than 100 years. I mean, you're asking me why it's important. It's important because if we don't have the protection of freedom of speech for everybody in this country, regardless of their political point of view, regardless of whether you agree with it or whether you were offended by it or not, we've gone a long way towards becoming some country other than America.
Mr. Simon, we appreciate your input. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. We've got more great content for you, from news to the arts to the environment. So be sure to like and subscribe to WGCU's YouTube channel and follow us on our social media platforms for the stories that matter to you.